Let's podcast. You wanted playoff hockey. You will get playoff hockey, more playoff hockey in the first round because the Islanders just took care of the Hurricanes in game 4. There will be no sweep. Matthew Barzal looks like he's going to get credit for the double overtime goal. Islanders win 3-2. Canes lose 3-2, which means we will get a game 5 back here in Raleigh. I want to say that I am surprised, but then after watching the way that the Islanders had played, particularly in the first period in this game, it's hard not to think that there's been many times in this 6-year run where you look at the Hurricanes and the way that they've played, and they've lost games like this in the playoffs, and you go, well, when will it be our time for luck? And that's where you kind of look at it and you go, okay. Unfortunately for the Canes, they cannot get their first sweep since sweeping the Islanders in the second round in 2019. Instead, we will get game 5 on Tuesday. I'm Joe Giglio, no Joe Ovies today. It's his anniversary. Congratulations to Joe and Kelly. We will forgive him for leaving me here by myself today after this game. So what is it about multiple overtime games here that the Hurricanes struggle so much in multiple overtimes? I don't think you can point to any one thing. I think that would be slightly silly to try to generalize all of these things because if you think about it, the Hurricanes are always going to be one of the most fit teams. They're always going to be more balanced and deeper teams. It's just kind of worked out this way for them. So I finally got tired of not having a spreadsheet of Hurricanes games. So here I created one, and I'll pull it up here on the screen. As you guys know, I am not the technical one of the duo here, but I do know how to put a spreadsheet together, and I do know how to update it. So once they go multiple overtimes, it becomes a problem. So this is since they moved to North Carolina. They've played 8 multiple overtime games. They've only won one of those. That was the Brock McGinn winner up in Washington, Game 7, first round in 2019. All of the other games that have gone multiple overtimes, obviously including the 4 overtime game last year in the conference finals to Florida, ended up being a loss. So you see the Islanders adding to that list of let's not call it misery. It's probably just tough luck if you really think about it. And I think they have, at least according to ESPN, they've officially changed that goal to Barzal's. Bortuzzo had the shot from the point, and then it did look like initially that Barzal had gotten a piece of it. So that's that. No need to belabor the all of these multiple overtime losses again. I don't think there's any one thing to it. I just, particularly last year, the Hurricanes were able to beat the Islanders twice in regular overtime. I was kind of rooting for regular overtime, to be perfectly honest with you. But it was funny. At the house, had some friends over, the neighbors over, the Mickelson Marauders, and I had said, we have not gotten a marathon yet. There hasn't even been a multiple overtime game yet. So I wasn't surprised that we finally got one of those. But so here we are, Hurricanes After Dark. This is the OG. I am Joe Giglio. Hurricanes lose 3-2. Really, they win the first period, which that's been the pattern now. They've been better in the first period. They not an early goal. They get Jarvis scores on the power play. Just kind of checking my notes here for you guys. Jarvis scores on the power play. It's 1-0. I thought the Islanders actually controlled the first period, which, I mean, that's kind of been, if you're the Islanders, you kind of feel like, and I'm going to get to your comments. Appreciate everyone coming in today because it's just me. So we're going to roll through your comments. I just want to go through a little bit of the scoring and a little bit of the game. So if you have a comment popping up over there, we'll get to it. We'll go through all of them, and we'll make sure we hit all of those. But again, I thought the Islanders come out in game 4 with the urgency that you would expect. Varlamov was really good as well. So, first period, though, Canes get the Jarvis goal on the power play, and you're thinking, all right, maybe this breaks their spirit a little bit. But I've kind of said since the beginning of this series and so after we saw game 2, this really feels like the Canes and the Panthers last year, where you could sit here and argue, yeah, I see the results, and the Hurricanes were up 3-0 in this series, but the Islanders have been right there. I mean, really, Canes were lucky to win game one. Obviously, game two, you have an amazing comeback with the 5-goal comeback, which, that was like kind of an all-timer, right? But if you're the Islanders, you feel like you were the better team in that game. In game three, Hurricanes win, but still one of those games where I thought Freddie really won the game for the Canes in game three. I mean, it's probably the one where the Islanders don't really have anything to quibble about. But this game, after they had fallen behind, Peugeot scores on the power play for the Islanders to equalize it in the second period. Then they take the lead in the third period, honestly, early on a power play. Barzal gets his first of the series. I've been waiting for him. Canes fans know that he has been a nuisance and a menace to the Canes for all of these years. So I expected him to do more in game three. He was there, obviously, in game four. Gets the power play goal just 98 seconds into the third period. Wasn't until the end of that period did we get Steph Nason get his second goal of this series to tie it up on the power play, 2-2, which sent us into the overtime. So now here we are in overtime. Nothing really doing in the first overtime. I thought the Canes did control the first overtime. Freddie, though, making the best saves in that first overtime. Again, having those, if I'm a Canes fan and I'm thinking of things through the lens of where have we seen this before? Look like last year when Florida Bobrovsky had just kind of controlled that series and really had vexed the Hurricanes. Those were the thoughts and images I was having for Islanders fans. Like, what do you got to do to beat this guy? And then finally, Bartozo with the shot from the point through traffic, kind of a classic overtime playoff goal. I do think Barzal got a stick on it. And again, ESPN giving Barzal credit for that second goal. So there we are, 3-2 Islanders win. What can I say? Back here on Tuesday, we will get game 5. I think the Hurricanes are still obviously in the pole position here. They had mentioned I watched the first 2 periods back in Garner with the Bally feed, Mike Maniscalco. We won't have Mike tonight. On the road, it's going to be a little bit difficult for us to get Mike and Luke, at least while Mike has television duties, which he has for this round, because of travel schedules. And also, Mike's on the team there. He has to be on their bus schedule and to and from the arena. So unfortunately, we will not have Mike Maniscalco join us today. I did send Luke the link, but he does have a flight out of there tonight. So again, we got the skeleton crew here. We are here, OG, after twilight, maybe. I feel like it's more like, hey, if we hurry, we could get 5 more holes in and beat the sunset. 2:00 start, obviously giving us something a little bit different. So let me pay one bill here, and then we'll get through all of your comments here. Appreciate everyone jumping in on the comments. And but yes, my mic is blocking the logo. Look at that, the Roback logo. These Roback hoodies and shirts are really just unbelievable. Roback is more than just golf gear. The shirts and the hoodies really are unbelievable. If you use the promo code OG20, you can save 20%. All you got to do is go to roback.com. I'm going to pull up the golf shirt that my friends at Roback had sent me. It is the pig picking. So if you're unfamiliar with Roback, they have, like I said, they have a lot of great golf stuff. But what they have, they try to give you something from each region, each state. And the shirts really are. This hoodie is the most comfortable hoodie I've ever put on my body. And I know you're thinking, no, that you're exaggerating, but I'm telling you, it is really, really good. And the themes are really, really good too. I'm pulling up the pig picking here. You guys will see it on Monday on the pod, but it's pink. And hold on, here it comes again. Technology, not my strong suit, but use that promo code OG20. You can save 20% on your order. But this is it, the pig picking from Roback. I mean, it's unbelievable. And you can see the back there. You can see the pigs. And when Mike Maniscalco does join us, he is brought to you by Roback. So go check them out. Again, it's roback.com. Roback. You don't know me like that. All right. So now that we're back, pay that one bill. Let's get to your comments. Let's bring those up. Let's see if I'm capable of doing that. First of all, I am capable of doing that. All right, Roback Gang, yes, Ken first. All right, so let's see. We got Kyle. Today was the first day I wore my OG flag t-shirt and the Canes lost. Uh-oh. Should I wash it and leave it in my closet until non-game days? Yes. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but after the NC State run through the ACC tournament and the NCAA tournament, I am a big believer on what you wear, when you wear it, where you sit, where you watch the game. Do you drink the day of the game? What do you eat the day of the game? I'm all about all those things, Kyle. So we are positive vibes only, sir. So no, we can't be jinxing. We can't be jinxing our meal ticket here during the playoffs. So yes, I would wash it and put it somewhere safe on a non-game. I do appreciate you reaching out, and of course, Breaking Tees, where you can find our merch. And James says double OT curse. Yes, the Hurricanes, for whatever reason, when they go to double overtime, the problems are there. And again, I just don't think there's any way for us to weave one narrative through all of that. But they are now 1-6, 1-6 in double overtime games since they moved from Hartford. Game 7 against the Caps in 19 is their only double overtime win, and then 1-8 in multiple overtime losses. Jesse, yes, that is the high tech yellow pad. Sometimes when I have to create a spreadsheet, it makes me it's harder to update, right? I can probably make a spreadsheet of just those multiple overtime games so that we have it, and I'll go oldest to newest. That way we can update the list, and I'll keep it open. I promise you, I'll have that by the next one. So we'll see that. All right, we got James on the bright side. Won't have as long between round 1 and round 2. A break is nice, but it could have been like 8 or 9 days with a sweep. It's a good point, James. I think we're bound to get this anyway because the Rangers are moving along quite nicely against the Capitals, and it felt like we were headed towards this collision course with the Rangers already. And when there's a long gap, teams will tell you about rust, and we've seen this. Like there's so many examples of this, of a team who just wants to keep playing and wants to get back out on the ice. And once they get out of rhythm, it really does kind of throw them off. I obviously don't think that the Canes went into this game thinking, oh, it wouldn't be that terrible if we lost. You always want to take care of business in as few a games as possible. And we saw this last year where they came back. Now that's the next test, right? So what do they do? Last year they had this chance. They came back home. They were up 3-1, and they couldn't take care of business. They end up losing, having to go back to the island. They did end up winning game 6. Aho gets the overtime game winner. But kind of the way that I look at it, it's this team has shown us already more than I think the even any of the other than 19, right, was like such a feel good. You're playing at that time, like the Capitals only a year removed from their title. So you're thinking, oh, they're not going to beat the Capitals, and this is their first time in 10 years. And you're thinking, okay, different feelings, right? After the being in the desert for, if you will, for 10 years. I think this team has already, by winning game 3 on the road, something that they had not been able to do. Let's go back to Nashville. Let's go back to the Rangers series that they lost, even Boston last year. They've had these struggles where you want to see them assert themselves on the road, and they haven't been able to do it. Well, I think winning game 3 was good. One thing that struck me, Seth Jarvis, after the second period intermission, had said that, he knew the penalty, they had to kill off the penalty. He said, we haven't gotten to our game yet. And there were times in overtime and in the third period where I saw the Canes get there. But I agree. I think for the most part in this, even game 3, it was Freddie. Like I was trying to think of what a luxury that Freddie has been. And it's not so much a luxury as it is a difference maker, right? And I don't think you pin any of these goals on him. 2 of them are on a power play, the third on basically a screen tip in overtime, which is kind of how this thing works. So I want to say, I've been thinking about this. What came first, shoes or socks? I think the Romans might have had sandals, right? So you're walking around and your feet are getting all blistered up, and certainly it was better than being barefoot, right? But I feel like the Canes put the sandals on, 19, 20, 21, even 22. And now these last 2 years, it's like, well, what would happen if we put socks on and we're even more comfortable? So I think they're in that process of putting those socks on, being more comfortable. Yeah, it's good to have your feet protected. It's even better to do it in luxury. I think they've been able to do a little bit of that. Suntoro, gentleman sweep incoming. Hey, that's the next logical step, right? Like that's what you want to see. Last year they're in this position, up 3-1, come back. You want to see them close it out. They struggled. Can they make that extra step this time? I think so. But again, getting back to what Jarvis had said, I want to see the Canes play their game. We really, let's go back to it being 3-0 in game 2. And I'm sitting here going, my first question to Jordan Stahl was like, what the fuck? How did it get to 3-0? Not that the Islanders aren't a good team, and they do play a very similar style to the Canes. It's just more of like, I feel like the Canes are more here and the Islanders are here. And you could say that based on the regular season results, but that's not how the playoffs work. So you got to go back to that second period of game 2 where the Canes played their game. And then in the third period, obviously you get the avalanche of goals. And then I thought in game 3, Freddie was absolutely the difference. Let's see what Jesse has. Islanders look like the more desperate team from what I watched today, which makes sense. Yeah, I mean, being down 3-0. And Barzell, like I said, has a tremendous history against Carolina Hurricanes, both postseason and regular season. I actually bet on him today to score. I actually bet on him the other day on game 3 to score. I was surprised he didn't get something back in game 3. We've seen this before, and I had asked Rod Brindamore about this before game 3, that, in years past, it's been super important to get Jordan Stahl on the other team's top line. And I think one of the reasons in previous seasons why the Hurricanes have been vulnerable on the road is that last match without Stahl on the other team's top line. It has made a difference. I think Sebastian Aho is playing at a level that it doesn't make as big of a difference as it has in years past. So I think that's why the Canes are a little bit more comfortable this year and obviously a little bit deeper going back to game 1, because Netsov's line was their best line in that game, which of course is a luxury because you're matching up with the other team's third and fourth lines. So I think, if you think about it with Barzell, he was a little bit overdue. Obviously getting 2, that's part of it though. The other, as they like to say, the other, you just put your pants on one leg at a time. So this is from Will. Why are we letting these bums hang around? I mean, I think the Canes are better than the Islanders, but I don't think they're bums. Sometimes that's playoff hockey. And again, quite frankly, if you're sitting here as an Islanders fan, you're going, well, we should have won game 1. We definitely should have won game 2. Their goalie won game 3. We won game 4. So, I don't think this is the same. I don't think this is the same as last year. I would have made that type of comment last year when the Canes lost game 5 back here in Raleigh. But again, that's the opportunity that they have in front of them now. Not saying I want is from Scott, the gambling brain that has kind of seeped in, right? Not saying I wanted this, but I got plus 300 on the Canes to win this series 4-1. If you're unfamiliar with the different ways you can bet on everything, and of course, I would encourage you to use DraftKings Sportsbook app. We are official; those are our official gambling partners. Use that promo code OG24 and get yourself $200 in bonus bets when you put $5 down. I would say this: there are a lot of different ways to bet on a series, and that's obviously from Scott a pre-flop before the series, before the game, where you get 4-1 exact outcome. I'll just make my admission right now. I have a couple of Canes beat the Stars in the Stanley Cup final tickets that I'm not very proud of at the moment because we kind of forgot about the Vegas Knights. But yes, Scott, find the bright side because gambling has been a bit of a boon here, particularly if you're a State and a Canes fan. All right, so what do we got? We got James. Freddie almost won this for them. I agree. You roll with him again in game 5. Yeah, absolutely. I've said before. I would not have argued today if Rod had gone with Kochetkov. I would have understood the premise of playing Kochetkov in this game. I would have. But I think every game you go to Freddie and you ask him, how are you feeling? Do you want to go? Yes. You're in the net. You're in the goal. He had the time off, obviously, with the blood clot. It was not like he was on a vacation sipping Mai Tais. It was a very serious issue they were trying to clear up. They took their time. They did their due diligence, as you should, when somebody's life is literally at stake. And I think Freddie is fresh. I think he's motivated. And this is the best we've ever seen him play. So if you go to him and say, "Hey, I want to give you a rest in game 5," I don't know. I think you give him the option, right? Kochetkov, we we've seen what Kochetkov is, and I still think he can be their number one in the future. I do. But he's very aggressive and he is mistake prone. So there are times, as we saw in game 3 with Sorokin, where you can't give up kind of loose goals, which let's just call them that, right? And Patrick Waugh tried to jumpstart his team by putting Sorokin in for game 3. Obviously, he was a Vezina finalist the previous year, outstanding player, but goalie really is voodoo. It can kind of come and go. I think the Canes would be perfectly at ease if they had to play Kochetkov, perfectly at ease. But this is the opportunity that they've been waiting for. The way that Freddie is playing, to go back to my socks and shoes analogy, like they're finally got those socks on and those extra comfy shoes on right now. This is the luxury that you want. You know, you don't want to sit there and have to walk over the broken glass like they did, the year with Kochetkov and Ranta and kind of, moving the spinning plates around and trying to juggle everything. It was just too hard to do. So let's see. Scott, plus we get one more game with Mike and Trip. Yes, on Bally, that's right. They only have the first round. Of course, you can still listen to the radio call. But Trip and Mike, yes, we will get more Trip and Mike on TV. Faceoff numbers are too heavy to ignore. I don't like that. Hashtag Gary. Yes, so the NHL, if you're not familiar, you do have an advantage at home when you are in the face-off circle. The visiting team has to put their stick down first. That does give the home team an advantage, but not 67% advantage. Probably more of a 55-45 advantage. Once I can see the raw numbers here I got the NHL.com up. I can see the percentage, but not the actual numbers. Let's look. Since I had written that down as well, I thought puck possession really did favor the Islanders, and of course, a big part of that is when you win as many faceoffs as the Islanders. I am rusty when it comes to finding the raw number here, but I will find it. But yeah, 67% for the Islanders in this game is obviously too much, as particularly for the Canes have a 44-35 shot advantage. The power play, special teams were obviously big. Both of the Canes' goals come on special teams. And then the Islanders got one of their goals on special teams. Looking at the other stats, Islanders had 40 hits. I mean, I don't know about hits. 40-24. It's a little bit more than 2-1. The Islanders had more giveaways. They had more block shots. Yeah, but the face-offs, you're right. That's let's see. Man, I'm gonna give us a face-off comparison here. Yeah, I mean, you can't have Jordan Stahl, who's your best guy, go 11 for 25. That's not a good situation. Obviously, Fishy had a tough night too. 3 of 18 from the faceoff circle, which means Bo Horvat 15 of 23. There you go. Brock Nelson 7 of 13, and then JG Pajot had a day and a half. My goodness, 19 of 23. So yep, just got a text from Luke. Yes, he's not going to be able to make it tonight. Totally understand, Luke. He's got a flight out of there tonight, and he was not counting on double overtime. So yes, Maya, great point. Thank you for bringing that up. I had that actually written down. Due for a letdown. Win Tuesday. Michael Crane, not sure. Oh, meaning today they were due for a letdown. Yeah, I could see that. I don't know if it's so much as a letdown. Again, I 1-8 now in multiple overtime games since 1997. I don't know if there's a great way to kind of weave a narrative between all 9 of those games. I don't know. I don't know if there is or not, but we'll see. Scott, very busy tonight. Appreciate you coming in here, Scott. Thanks for letting us win the series on home ice. Yeah, last year they had that chance now, Scott. Remember, game 5, and they couldn't get it done. So they did have to go back to New York. So we'll see. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the step. That's the challenge in front of the Canes to see if they can make it that way. Kevin, terrible outcome, but still up 3-0. Yeah, 3-1. Excuse me. Terrible outcome. Still up 3-1. Maya helping me out. I appreciate this. Face-off percentage, game 1, 59, game 2, 59, game 3, 40, game 4, 32. How? Yes, Maya. No, I cannot explain. As I said, you do have somewhat of an advantage at home. The home team does. However, that does not explain JP Pajot having the game that he did. So you got to give him a little bit of love Mindy, I'm trying over here. I did have a good birthday, but not that way. I didn't go that hard in the paint. That was Thursday already. No, listen. I'm a little bit worn out just watching this game, and the Brugaloo is going on downtown, so it was a little bit of a struggle to park. As you can see, I'm in the Eford Studios here, so no, I did not go that hard. You maybe Friday though. I mean, Shady's. Hopefully you can join us Friday, May 3rd. We will be at Shady's. The raffle's going really well. Everyone who has sent me entries on Venmo, I will get back to you. Your name will go on an actual raffle ticket. You will not have to be there in order to win any of the bourbon that we have, the Where's UNC sign, and then of course this, as Ken pointed out to me, this is this. If you don't know what this is the Seth Jarvis mixtape. So last year he made a list of songs for the hurricanes.com for their website. And it's a playlist, right? So he didn't know what a mixtape was. Anna over at Nice Price, though. Look at this. Like I'm telling you, this thing is easily, and as Ken keeps pointing out, this thing is easily going up in value with each goal. My friend Weston over at Oak City Sports Cards had said, if you had gotten him to sign a puck, it's like between 30 and $50. Something like this, and that was early in the season. Something like this, that's a unique item, a 101. You're easily talking about $100 value here. That obviously that is his signature. Seth Jarvis 24. He had another goal tonight. So if you'd like to enter, you just got to Venmo me. Look at this. I can put up a banner, I believe. Let's see how good I am today. Let's see if I can make it work. Let's show the banner. All right. So yes, there's my Venmo, Giglio Joe. Venmo me. You will get one ticket for $25, 3 for 50, or 6 tickets for 100. Again, 1 ticket for 25, 3 for 50, 6 for 100. Venmo me at that number and at the handle there, and I'll get back to you. I'll make sure your name is on a ticket, but I will need your phone number if you're not going to be there. So that way, if you win, you can collect. And I will say from our golf raffle, I had this question. We had a lot of prizes for our golf tournament in October, including the bourbon. The 2 biggest bottles of bourbon were won by people who weren't there. So you don't have to be there to win. Just Venmo those tickets. And again, this mixtape from Jarvis, we can't thank him enough. All right, let's get back to the comments as we roll through again. Canes lose 3-2. Islanders will be back here. I don't think we have a game time yet. I'm assuming, let's just say 7:30. We have game 5 here Tuesday at PNC Arena. I'll be surprised if it's not 7:30. So where were we? We were at Mindy with my voice. All right. We're back to Justin as a very casual hockey fan. I do wish they talked more about the Canes in between periods. Yeah, just have a better understanding of what they're trying to execute. I'll admit I don't know that much. Yeah, so I mentioned the Nicholson Marauders were over the house watching the game, and Amy insisted that we watch Bally because she didn't want to hear TNT, didn't want to hear the announcers because, quite frankly, they'll talk about, as we've seen in years past, the New York team, New Jersey, the tri-state area team, right? Hurricanes spend a lot of time playing the Devils, the Islanders, and the Rangers. And that's where their studio is, and those are the teams they understand. If it's ESPN, you're going to get Mark Messier. TNT, you're getting Henrik Lundqvist. So you're getting former Rangers, Devils, and Islanders basically on these broadcasts, right? So I agree with you. But I think that I would say to you, oh, they'll talk more if the Canes won the cup. I never hear them talk about the Knights. Knights just won the cup last year. You know what I mean? Like it's just it just kind of is what it is. There's a little bit of a New York bubble that these guys and they live in, and I get it. That's who they interact with. It's hard, as I like to say. Hockey is a niche sport. We have a really good niche in North Carolina and Raleigh and the Triangle in particular. But if you think about it, like, are we really like living and breathing? Are we watching the Oilers Kings? I mean, there are people out there who do, but are we living like breathing and dying with all of this hockey playoff? I'm not sure. But we do care about the Canes, and you're right. I think it would be better Mike and Tripp do an amazing job, but it would be nice to hear an outsider's view of what they think the Hurricanes are and what they aren't. Right? I think that would be beneficial. All right, Steven, it's a great sign that even when the Canes aren't on their game, they have a chance to win. Yes, agree, Steven, and I think that's Freddie. I think that's where you see Freddie. He was good enough to win game 1. He was good enough to win game 3. Tonight, like I said, Barzell's their best player. Barzell's a guy who's had success against them. So it's hard not to give them credit for what they've been able to do. And quite frankly, again, they could be sitting here and have a legitimate complaint that they should have won games 1, 2, and 4. And right now they only have game 4. So I think a large part of that is Freddie Andersen, who was again outstanding tonight. I'm just flying through these guys, and hopefully none of them are like, you're the worst and bad for me. But let's just see. Demonized, even with the shot advantage, it was New York that carried the play and had the advantages. Freddie has been the better goaltender in the series. Next game at home with the crowd, they will close out. Agree, Demonized. Totally agree. Lightning NC getting to win at home is so far from the worst thing in the world. Yeah. Again, though, they had this opportunity last year, so they have to make sure that they take care of it. All right, Jermaine. I'm drunk and I watched the game. We got this either way. Go Canes. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I'll be honest. Maybe I should. I need to break into the dark arts, but I have been trying to be on my best behavior today. The dark arts. Maybe that's the key. Maybe Joe Ovies has to be here in the studio drinking the dark arts. Let's put that on him. Okay, let's put that on him. And Justin coming back to clarify. They mostly talked from the Islanders' point of view. I'd love for the Canes to get more love, but mainly I want analysis on the Canes as they're doing good and not so good. Yeah, I totally agree, man. I totally agree. Jermaine, we love you. Love you too, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you supporting us. Best podcast ever. That's very nice. Very nice. Let's see. Jess, 7:30. Okay, perfect. 7:30 on Tuesday for Game 5. And Michael says, we'll close it on this. Here in the States, we only get the national broadcast. Yeah. Even here in the studio, my Bally app doesn't work because of the different sign-ins and all that other stuff. So I ended up watching the TNT broadcast. So that's going to do it for us, though. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate everyone for checking in. Wish that we had a little bit better news on this front. But I think, as most have said, it's okay. It's okay. Game 5 is not the worst thing in the world. And we got Game 5 Tuesday. Yeah, Scott, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. 5 stars only. Positive vibes only. Game 5 Tuesday. We will have Mike Maniscalco back. We'll have Joe Ovies back with the Dark Arts. We'll have Luke DeCock back. We'll have it all here. We'll have the Canes back. Let's see. Like I said, big takeaway from this year is I want to see them make the progress, and I think they will. I think this is the best version of the team that we've seen yet. And if they are, they come back on Tuesday, they take care of business, and they move on. Because it's written in the stars, my friends. It is written in the stars. The Hurricanes are going to play Peter Laviolette, the coach who led them to the Stanley Cup in 2006. And then they're going to play Paul Maurice, the coach who got them last year in the conference finals, Florida, and the coach that led them to their first Stanley Cup trip in 2002. It is written in the stars. We're getting the Canes in the Stanley Cup finals, speaking it into existence. Positive vibes only, 5 stars only. Appreciate you guys. We will see you. What is today? Saturday? That means we will have an OG proper on Monday. Lots to talk about with the Carolina Panthers and the NFL draft. And NC State, they get a guy over in Pittsburgh, and Drake May ends up in New England. So lots to cover from the NFL draft. More to talk about from the Canes. We will see you guys on Monday right here. If you haven't done already, hit that subscribe button. It really does help us. You guys have been great in these postseason tournament after dark runs. Appreciate all your support. That really does help. So hit that subscribe button, leave a comment. Appreciate you. See you on Monday for the OG proper, and then see you again on Tuesday. Tuesday, we'll be here to wrap up the series. Mark it down, clip it, save it. See you guys on Tuesday. Appreciate you. Be good.